for many environments in this highly competitive world, they realize the strength that there is in understanding what their data is and how all four of these steps relate to one another and can help do that. Today, we're talking about really the understand the data phase, but we're not talking about the actual phase of the data strategy itself. No, instead, what we're going to talk about is really the ability to collect that information. So we need a structure in order to build this framework, in order to collect the information about what we're understanding about the data, right? And so if you want to download this book, there it is right there. There's the reference right there. And you can download it off of Gumroad as a PDF file. Oh, go ahead and pause that if you need to take that information. All right. So the book has all of these references built in, all the video references, as well as explains in great detail everything that I'm going to tell you on this video. So a lot of people like to download the books and look at them as well. So again, they're just PDF files, so not that big of a deal. And you can search here as well. So today, though, what we're going to talk about is reports and calculations. And oh, by the way, when you search, for example, you just take that ID number. Do you see it right there? You can see them at the end in square brackets right there. Or if I highlight over it, 1624. So if you just take that number with the square brackets and put up here, you'll run right into the video. It takes you almost every time, it'll take you directly to the right video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the next one, which is reports and calculations. I believe that once you've set up your, so in the first video, we talked about establishing value. The second video, we talked about setting up the fields, the columns within the lists that need to support this. And we've mapped the columns to the value add statements, right? Boost efficiency is one of them on this screen. So we've done that in steps 1 and 2. Now, in this step, what we're going to do is design the reports and calculations. And before we get into some of those details, I just wanted to show you kind of what the end one looks like. So this is ultimately what we'll provide as a dashboard for this project. So as we're understanding the data, we're collecting data from all types of groups within the organization. We want to make sure that we're capturing that data in an organized manner so that it can provide this information to us. So this is probably one of the harder things to do, is to imagine and get right, what is it that the stakeholder really wants to see? Is this as important to them here that they can see how we can boost efficiency, and how does that all work, right? And is it important about the labor hours with visualization? And so you just have to nail what that is. Most of the time when we do projects like this, we leave the reporting to the very end, and then we're so burnt out and tired on building everything that we don't get the reports right. So do yourself a favor, start at the end and work backwards. So we now have this cool looking report. Now let's go back to the top of this document. Now we need to build in the the fields, and we need to build in the logic in order to make those things happen. So boost efficiency, here's an example of that. But I'm going to go into this in just a minute. But I wanted to go over a couple things on what the value is for the organization. So let me expand that just a wee. Okay. So here are some of the main bullets that I try to go by when I'm developing reports. First of all, they need to be simple and focused to provide value to the stakeholder. Too often I see reports in meetings that are more about illustrating what the presenter knows than what the stakeholders need, which is confidence in you and the project that it's moving forward. Okay, confidence drives budget and investment. So you need those to be successful, and you need your job to do that. And so remember that reports are not about you, they're about them. Always, always, always. Keep the name of the report aligned with the objective and limited to 1 to 3 words. These will become sound bites for leadership. And these sound bites, I cannot emphasize enough how important sound bites are for leadership, because they'll take these words that we're going to use, and you're going to see some examples here. They'll take those words and use them with their peers as well. As they get more and more comfortable with the reporting, they'll use those words as they see fit and move it into conversations. Once you've started the reporting, you may need to adjust based on the stakeholder, but try to limit your changes to the format. Once you start presenting to the group, you want to keep it the same. Consistency is your friend. You want them to see the same thing every week or every month, or how frequent, whatever your frequency is on reporting. And then reporting is most effective when the presentation of the information is consistent, like I just said. Okay. All right. So here are some examples. These are reporting examples just to show you, you viewed, if not, view the other videos, but you viewed the data fields that are used within these lists. Now you have a real world scenario to build reports from. You also know the value of add statements, and so you can kind of start piecing it together. So this report is boost efficiency. That's what the report is. And you can see here I've called out everything in the report. So you can see the columns here, and I've gone and defined each one of those, because I want to make sure as I'm developing the application, I may not get to reporting for several weeks or a month. So however long it takes me to get to reporting, I want to make sure that I'm still aligned with what the original intent is. So I list out what the data list is, what the column names are, and what the objective of that field in the report is. And this is really important, because if it doesn't make sense, if you can't write what the objective is, it's probably not something you want to show. And then you want to just, as you learn your leadership more and get more involved, you may want to say, that's really not that important to me. You could cut some of these out. Okay, so then you have process, right? And again, buy the book. The book makes it easier, but if you don't want to buy the book, pause the video, read all this stuff on the screen, okay? So those are the first 3, and the colors do represent a state. Green is optimal, red not desired, okay? The next report is called Data Hosting Report, and here we're going to use pie charts and a bar chart. Here, we're going to explain why we want that, right? And why we're using data length. Okay, data length, usually, by the way, between 0 and 25 characters. If that's the type of data they're putting in, most likely it could be classified as a transactional system and needs higher performance. So you just need to know what the data length is, and the type of data it is, and you can give numeric values to those. Now, PowerApps will examine the data and calculate the numbers for you. So you can build that right into your Power App. And here you can see a pie chart, important, historical and critical as far as the data is concerned. 70% of it's historical, 10% of it's transactional, and 20% of it's operational. So that kind of gives you an idea of how your storage tiers should go, right? In this example, most of your storage should be on low speed, high capacity disk. Okay. Next one is improved visualization, and you can see the fields here. I think you get the hint now. Again, pause the video or buy the book. Here we have frequency, annual LOE, level of effort, and annual cost variable, and the calculation. So the calculation, all of this again done natively within PowerApps. You'll see the rest of it down below. And here, this is built on $100 fully burdened cost. And then this is a calculation. What's cool about this calculation is it takes the value that they enter, the user enters as far as frequency, this daily, for example, and then in the background, based on what it says, it does a calculation. It does a calculation here and then calculates out the dollars, all within PowerApps. Prioritization of the resiliency, here we're going to do availability, data life, criticality, and priority. Now this one adds a little logic to it. Again, buy the book, pause the video, whichever one works for you. And then we're going to go there. and then we'll go down here. So here we're getting these points that are coming in, and this is basically availability is 7 on this data, 7 out of 10. Data life is they reported a score of 3, somewhere 1, 2, or 3. So data life is a 7. Criticality of the data is a 5 because it's set to important. So why is this equal to 5, the priority? Well, because the data life is only 1 to 3 days. So although it does have strong availability, the data itself is highly perishable. So what priority do you give that in order over a program where data life is 0, right? Meaning that it lasts forever, and availability is at 2. That means that you're going to lose quickly. You're going to lose that data in the event of a failure. So anyways, some logic built behind here. Good. Next one is data classification, and that's the last one. Data classification, PII, classified, CUI, things of that nature. And you can see, again, pause the video or buy the book. And then this is the final, this is the final output that you receive. It's important to note that this is not manually filled. This fills automatically. Once you go to that section in your Power App, it automatically fills. And we're going to walk over how to put a little print icon here so you can hit print and it'll actually print the report exactly as you see it. So pretty cool stuff. Next one we're going to do is we're going to build the data collection environment. So tune in for that. Thank you.